What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to a special live edition of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, episode 757, and we are actually doing this live during the Friday night Friday afternoon SmackDown episode that's happening right now. So this is going to be a little bit different than normal. It's going to be a little bit longer than normal, but also a lot of kind of just more casual vibes. So if you're listening to the audio only portion of this, or you're listening after the fact, that's why we're going to have some downtime on this and stuff, but we figured we'd try something else a little bit different. If you don't know who we are and what we do and all that stuff, do not judge the podcast based off of this episode. Go back and check out previous ones if you're brand new. But if you are brand new, I am Tony Mango. Just to introduce ourselves, I got with me, as usual, my usual suspects here. We got Robert E. Felice.
Hey, Tony. We're watching SmackDown together for the first time.
First time? That's weird.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've never done this.
And we also got Callum Wiggins. Hey, look at that. We're making it a threesome. That sounds awful. As soon as it came out of my mouth.
I mean, I'm not watching SmackDown, so I'm not joining you in that venture.
You're missing out on a lot of blue on your screen, at the very least. So far on SmackDown, let me further explain why this is happening like this for anybody that's completely oblivious to what today's recording and stuff was all about. SmackDown is live right now. It's 2 o'clock. Well, it's 2:54 right now, but it's live internationally. It's going to air at 8 p.m. on the USA Network, the way that they usually do that when it comes to SmackDown. On the Netflix side of things for Monday Night Raw, they just air it whenever it's there, and you can just go back and click on it whenever you want. USA, they have an obligation, it seems, to just do that specifically there, so they do not air it on USA Network at that time because they want that actual time frame. So we're basically treating this as like a spoilers thing, and on top of that, like a live coverage watch along. And if you're listening to this like hours later from now, you're going to get the reactions to anything that happens on here. There are things that happened already since we started an hour late, and that's entirely on me because I was just like, I don't know if I want to do a 3-hour episode. And also I was a little tired and I didn't want to wake up and get out of bed. I'll be perfectly honest. When I saw that it was 1:45 and I was like, I guess I got to get up. But what happened so far on this episode, for anybody who's curious and wants to kind of catch up to where we are, Gunther started by complaining about the results from Clash in Italy, as he would be expected to be. He had his foot under the ropes and everything like that, so he demands a rematch. Cody Rhodes comes out, says that he deserves a rematch, among other things. We should do it right here, right now. Sami Zayn comes out, whines and bitches and complains about how he deserves to get a shot over him. Both of you screwed me over, blah, blah, blah. They have a fight thing. It's the usual 20 minutes of promo at the beginning of any episode of any kind of WWE television. And surprisingly, it does not end with, and there's going to be a tag team match later on tonight. It ends with Cody going for a dive, Sami Zayn being pulled into Gunther's way by Gunther, so Sami gets hit by Cody. And we've had some follow-up from that since then. Miz had a video call with Kit Wilson where he was investigating Danhausen's experiments, and Miz ended up getting electrocuted by touching a bunch of that stuff. Gunther was yelling at Nick Aldis, threatening to get his legal team involved. We had a Queen of the Ring tournament fatal 4-way round 1 match, which I was a little bit surprised about. Raquel Rodriguez defeated Bayley, JC Jane, and Kiana James. Kiana James took the pinfall. He had an argument with Julia afterward. They broke up. Tony, babyface turn, it seems, in the works for Julia, although she's not 100% babyface right now. And Sami Zayn was looking for Johnny Gargano backstage to bitch and complain about his frustrations a little bit more. Nick Aldis said that he didn't have time to talk to him, and that's because he's talking to Chad Gable. So the assumption is that Chad Gable is probably going to be moved over to the SmackDown roster, just like Finn Balor was. And right now we're on Rice Keys versus Tala Tonga. Now you're completely caught up, and we'll see how everything goes after this. Out of this episode of SmackDown so far, and those kind of thoughts, any thoughts that you guys got?
Oh, as the one who is watching. I will say that I'm not surprised that Raquel won. Once I realized that she's just going to go up against Io, I think that's a safe bet. You could just do that match on Raw. For a minute, I thought JC might go all the way, but then I realized keeping her out of the decision, you keep her fresh for whenever you do have her challenge Charlotte or Rhea or whoever. And I think it was a solid match, and I'm intrigued by the Sami Zayn stuff. I asked you, like, why is Johnny Gargano involved? I like it, but I don't know if it's just going to lead to the circle of, and Sami Zayn loses again, because I really don't care about that. I am interested in seeing Chad Gable on SmackDown, and it seems like he's away from Ivy and the Creeds. Which, at least in the case of the Creeds, is kind of disappointing, because, like, hey man, they were involved in that crazy AAA stuff too, so maybe they should
Bruno and Julio.
Bruto, not Bruno.
Oh, it's Bruto? I thought it was Bruno.
Yeah, it's literally just Bruto. It's and yeah, I think it's really amazing how much that match and angle and all of it worked, and hopefully Chad Gable might be able to get some traction on the SmackDown side of things.
I thought we just had a potential finish going on for a second there out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, I mean, I understand JC Jane not being in. Like, I was going to go with JC Jane before looking at the brackets and stuff, but I actually thought that Kiana might potentially win over Raquel, and that it might not be the end of the whole split between them yet. Of course, they ended up going in that direction, so now it makes more sense, but the EO win seems like a lock now at this point, and so does this kind of seem like the end of the match.
Yeah,
I mean, Hobbs just did his power slam, so we'll see what's happening there. But I'm still not really like set on the idea of like, oh, there's a very specific way that the women's tournament's going to go down. Still something that I'm kind of like, it could be a couple different directions.
I would.
This whole
Right
Tama
now-
thing, man, are they going to like just change him or what? Like, is he just going to spend 7 months being like, I'm a little bit upset with Solo, but not really? This is stupid.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Clash in Italy happened. Jacob Fatu now has to serve Roman Reigns. Seems fine with it, by the way. And they ended the show with the MFTs being like, hey, we're still here. And then Roman audibly saying, and they're next. So to me, it looks like we're headed towards Super Bloodline, as evident by the fact that Talatanga Hikuleo just pinned Royce Keys. So they're heating this up again. I was glad to see that Solo did not win his King of the Ring match to advance, but they're definitely looking to put these guys back in the spotlight.
I was just going to say, when does Wepa Up come out and help out? And here we go. R-Truth, who is not medically cleared to compete, but is running down to get into the action anyway. All right, well, I guess he's medically cleared to brawl in the ring, but not wrestle. So we do have other hot tags to talk about, but obviously a lot of this is going to be reacting to SmackDown as well. King and Queen of the Ring is one of the hot button topics for us to get into, and the other matches that had happened on Monday Night Raw are, kind of not super surprising, the results of what had happened. It's it's a work in progress. They're going through the tournament. It can go in a couple different directions and all, but Obafemi defeated Carmelo Hayes, Penta, and, as mentioned before by Robin a second ago, Solo Sikoa. He is most likely going to go up against Braun Breaker, I'm assuming, because Braun Breaker's in his 4-way today against Damian Priest and who are the other ones? Trick Williams and Dominic Mysterio.
Oh,
My son Dom. And we got the women's match. Io Sky, as mentioned before, beats Julia, Lash Legend, and Roxanne Perez. Roxanne upset about that, obviously, for multiple different reasons. They're continuing to tease the split of more of the Judgment Day stuff. All the more reason why I was a little bit surprised that Raquel had won, though, instead of JC Jane. But speaking of the Judgment Day, they're backstage right now. You got JD McDonough, you got Dominic Mysterio, you got Liv.
well, there's a couple of reports in the last 24 hours about internal frustration from Dom and Liv over just like, yo, we haven't fucking done anything since WrestleMania. And I agree, they've done nothing. It's honestly awkward that I think it was self-made pro wrestling, maybe Ibu, who was like, yeah, Liv's plans all included Stephanie, and because Stephanie's not there, they're just doing nothing. It's like, what do you have a roster? You have people. Like, what do you mean?
It's so weird when they're in those kind of situations because it's like, okay, yeah, sure. Your plans were to have a rematch with Stephanie Vaquer. The matches that they had and the feud that they had going on prior to WrestleMania went on for so long that they do not need to have rematches at all. It could have very easily just been, she beat Stephanie Vaquer at WrestleMania. That's the end of it. You've done months of this. How much more can you really milk out of that? And yet, at the same time, they felt not only that they needed to do even more of that, but that they had not one single option that they could go in for a solid 2 months afterward. They care so little about every other person on the Raw roster and the idea about potentially just moving people around, which they are perfectly willing to do because they're moving Finn Balor, they're moving Chad Gable, they're, switching up, adding Sol Ruka to the mix, they're moving Gunther around and all these other kind of things that they can very easily do at any moment. So if they wanted to be like, you know what, actually, we really think that Liv should be up against, I don't know, somebody from NXT or something, they could just do that and nothing's stopping them. But they very clearly felt, well, if we can't just do the rematch of continuing the 5-month-long Stephanie Vaquer feud, then we're just not going to do anything for another 3 months. It must make you feel like shit if you're Bailey, or if you're Ivy Nile, or if you're Lyra Valkyria, or if you're Natalia, or if you're fucking anybody on the roster, right?
I'm of the belief that like it's okay that they wanted to do a rematch from WrestleMania, like that's fine. But to suggest that, oh no, Steph went down with injury, let's just have Liv do nothing. That's the part where I have an issue because I understand times have changed, but in no years past, but maybe with the exception of, post-COVID, like, would they have just said, yeah, so we can't find a challenger for, God, even in the doldrums of the Divas era, like, somebody would have had a match for that belt. You know what I mean? Like, they would have found somebody. They wouldn't have gone months and months and months with literally no challenge.
I can make an excuse to say, like, okay, they had the plans for the Vaquera thing. She was injured. Not even that. I would say, like, if she was not injured at all and she got injured at WrestleMania, then I could be like, okay, you know what? Give them 2 weeks. Because you could have a follow-up promo from Liv to just be like, I won at WrestleMania, whatever. And then the week afterward, you should already have a plan in mind of like where you're going to pivot and then start going into the next thing. Because you could just insert anybody into there. Like, I mean, Maxine Dupree right now is in storyline complaining about how she's not even in the Queen of the Ring tournament. You mean to tell me that in storyline, Liv Morgan is just doing absolutely nothing? Not a single other person on the roster is complaining to Adam Pearce that they want a title shot. And he's just going, yeah, you know what? I think that the option here is not to do anything. And I have no room for anybody, including the thing that is completely wide open. And yeah, I know that the actual reason is, fuck you, that it's a story and we don't want to tell that story. But it's like, if you want me to believe any of the other stuff, then you as a writer should answer these questions, and you should be in a position to be like, you know what? Let's pivot. Let's just... I wouldn't have loved it if it would have been like 2 weeks after WrestleMania, Liv Morgan comes out, talks about how she beat Stephanie Becerra, and Maxine Dupree is the one that ends up saying, you know, I deserve a title shot and I'll be the next in line. Yeah, I'm not going to love that feud. But at the same time, at least it's something, and you don't have to dedicate a lot of time to it. You could have 3 minutes of the episode, 5 minutes of the episode, cut down on the stupid bullshit that you do that's unnecessary and crap anyway. Because it's not like it's like, oh man, what a downer of a feud that would be. I'd much rather watch the progressive recap of whatever. So next week we're getting Jey Uso, LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. Announcing that ahead of time.
I don't feel confident about Royce Keys since he just lost.
I think he's going to be one of those not included into the finished things.
It kind of seems like they're going with Jay, because I know Roman just said on Raw, like, you know, go get Cody's belt.
Yeah. Damian Priest and R-Truth are arguing backstage.
I want to just briefly discuss the main event of Noche de los Grandes, because it's been talked about all week as one of the best matches in WWE history, and I know, you know, Meltzer's opinion is just Meltzer's opinion, but it is funny to say it's now the highest rated WWE match in Observer history with 5.75 stars. Speaking of
The whole
AAA,
thing just went
Warrior.
out the window when he starts going, oh, my 5-star rating thing's got 12 stars to it now and shit.
Is this the first time Warriors have appeared on SmackDown?
Ever?
No, I just mean like recently.
I mean, yeah. We also are going to get the Sol Ruca, Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill Fatal 4-Way next week. Look at them being efficient and actually an hour and 11 minutes into the show announcing matches for next week instead of doing the thing that they normally do where they wait until 75% of it's over before they say something. Well, that's because they're going to go spend 10 minutes with Rhea Ripley going, I beat Jade Cargill. And that's it. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned before with the El Grande Americano stuff, how great that stuff was. 5.75 stars, you said? Meltzer gave it?
Yeah.
What
Which,
what an odd metric.
which usurped the previous high-ranking WWE match of Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano getting 5.5 stars during one of the takeovers. I just want to say, not only was that match amazing, and just the twists and turns of like, oh, and this is still, oh my god, and they're bleeding, and this is still going, and it was just so good all the way around. But I also had so many people, like casual fans, go out of their way to message me about like, so that match, huh? And I was like, hey, that's awesome. I like seeing wrestling organically reach people and make lapsed fans want to look at more. And it was actually my brother who had we spoke about it, and he was like, "What I loved about that match was it didn't take place in front of the obnoxious American crowd, and the
Yeah.
audience loved every fucking thing they did. They were booing the heel into the babyface. They were just excited about everything, and I have to agree. Like, it was really refreshing to just see people just enjoying the thing and not trying to hijack the thing. And of course, when it was over, when he unmasked, Chad Gable got a ton of love from the crowd, and his kids were in the ring. His son wore the outfit and took the mask off with him. Like, what a random moment for Kaiser and Gable to just have these like this show stealing performance and just this awesome boost.
Did you end up watching any of that, Callum?
No, I haven't seen the match yet, but like I can only go by the account saying that it was very good. I'm just checking like Cage Match. It's currently sitting at number 72 in terms of the 100 highest rated matches on Cage Match. So that's always a good sign. I think compared to, well, it's certainly the highest ever AAA rated main event in terms of like comparing it with WWE. I think the only matches that are ahead of it for WWE are Ilya Dragunov versus Walter from the Pandemic. What else is on here that's WWE? Ilya Dragunov versus
You
Walter
mentioned
from
Gargano.
Yeah. Got Andrade versus Gargano is above that. Dragunov versus Walter again. CM Punk versus John Cena. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Tyler Bate versus Walter. Well, Walter used to be so good, didn't he? Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson versus Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa in their 2 out of 3 falls match. And Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 21. Chris Benoit versus Shawn Michaels versus Triple H for WrestleMania 20. Shawn Michaels for The Undertaker again. But presumably from WrestleMania 26 for that one. Just to see if there's any other one. Oh no, actually that one's lower. So actually, yeah, that's so. Yeah, actually, El Grande Americano. I'm just checking, double checking that it's sitting above or in the same. It's got the same rating as Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 21. So yeah, it's obviously holding up to itself really, really well on this standing. So yeah, it might be worth like checking out when I have the opportunity to. But yeah, it's good to see them put it together. I did like Meltzer's other comment of it.
Definitely something that I would recommend to a lot of different people. It's obviously it's not as bombastic if you don't watch it live and you know what the result is. So that's already going to take away some of the fun. But
I knew what the result was going to be anyway.
Yeah, and you also kind of knew that it was like they had to go in that direction. If they were going to just keep it on Chad Gable, it would have been a massive mistake. But you know.
I would say that like I thought it was quite funny with like Meltzer's comment. So like one of the greatest matches in WWE's history is kind of like as good as probably the best Dynamite main events. So it's like, yeah, you throw the little dig in there as well to just say because most of the other to be fair, most of the matches on the cage match thing that are high rated are actually like New Japan and like Japanese matches in general anyway, because they just have a higher standing among the internet or fan. But yeah, it's good that it's getting a lot of fandom across the board, really. So that's good.
We got Charlotte Flair confronting Rhea Ripley, which is just in line with what I've been saying since Mania.
Hey, we got Sin Cara in the crowd. Look at that.
Hey,
He's got the blue Sin Cara mask on.
I'm sure he's waited 15 years to wear that. But like,
well, the guy now that they're showing has the old school Degeneration X shirt, so he's waited 30 years to wear that.
well, it's WWE's fault for not going to Italy more.
Yeah.
By the way, are they just here? Like, are they in this region for the rest of the month? Because Raw is going to be early, and I know that June, right before Night of Champions, is still like I think in France. So are they just here for the rest of the month?
They've got actually let's check the handy dandy list of things that I've got. So they are in Paris for Raw. They are in Providence, Rhode Island for the next episode of SmackDown. If that's right. I don't know for sure if that's 100% right. Then they're going to be in Baltimore, then Kansas City. Then they go to London for a couple episodes. And then Saudi.
Well, at least we get like 3 out of 4 early shows.
I love the early shows. I'm so glad that at 5 o'clock that this is going to be completely over with. And I can just, move on with the rest of my day. Shout out to Tiffany Stratton's gear lately. It's been really good. She's been getting like different designs and stuff, like the little butterfly things and stuff.
She finally can't just rely on pink. And I appreciate that.
Speaking of like the King and Queen of the Ring tournament, so we're not going to mention why Liv Morgan is in this tournament.
Did we talk about that before? I don't know if we did or not. If we didn't, then definitely gotta talk about it.
We briefly spoke about it through Messenger, but I don't think we've talked about it on a podcast.
It's stupid.
Did she explain? did she explain on the episode of Raw why she's in the tournament?
No, she explained on social media.
Well,
because
she just wants to go for the other title.
Because the fan asked, and she was just like, "Hey, no one stepped up to me, so fuck it. I'm making my own challenge. I've done everything else. I'm gonna try to do this too."
It's such a stupid, again, like the whole, why are you not doing anything with the actual championship side of things? And it's like, again, Maxine Dupree going up to the Raw general manager to be like, dude, your job is to book things. Why do I not have a spot? And him saying, you're a former women's intercontinental champion, and I get it, but there's just no room for you. I don't know, maybe take the other champion out of the thing and throw her in there. It sounds like I'm like really defending Maxine Dupree, and it's not so much like pro Maxine Dupree. It's more so just, come on, fucking logic here, guys. Like, Liv Morgan's not going to win this tournament. So does she need to be in the tournament? Is it a matter of like, she absolutely needs to have her match and lose her match just to have Stephanie interfere and cost her, and then look at that, she's back, and that way we set up the match for what's the next event? Night of Champions? Like Night of Champions for Saturday night's main event. It's like, do you need to go in that direction? You can't think of any other way to do that. I don't like that at all.
So I'm not a fan of when they attempt to, on television. It's one thing for a report to leak, oh, they just decided not to do anything with Liv. I don't like when they on television are like, hey, there's no spot at WrestleMania for you, Sami Zayn. Hey, there's no spot, Maxine. You had your 15 minutes, but we've decided that there's no room for you. I don't like when on TV they're just like, remember, what was it, WrestleMania 38? When they were like, yeah, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, sorry, there's no spot for you on WrestleMania because you guys aren't champions. But we can find room for Otis.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense at all when they do that kind of stuff, because if you're going to put out an actual explanation for something, the explanation has to make sense. If you're not going to put an explanation out there, then that's another thing, because then you can play around with it a little bit. You could be like, all right, fill in the blank yourself. All right, so what we're going to get the Nick Aldis thing, that this would have been the beginning of the episode in a normal week. I wonder if it's going to be a 3-on-3 match. Why is Bliss not there?
She has a baby and doesn't want to be.
Maybe that's
Well, I
it.
don't know if she wants to be or not, but she has a baby. Like, maybe she wanted to be home or needed to be home.
Or they might be trying to sell the whole the beatdown thing. The consistent thing with WWE and their idiot general managers that always book the show with without matches, where they're like, "Oh, that's interesting. We should have a 6-woman tag." What are you getting paid to do, dude? Did you start this episode with 3 hours of SmackDown every week with like, oh, we got 40 minutes worth of material and we'll figure it out the rest of the time that we go?
Would love if the Tony Khan style just became normalized of like, yeah, I am, I own the company, I'm the matchmaker, and I'll have a show made and you don't need to see me on it. Then the show's just made. I have matches in mind.
I like the general manager idea. It's just a matter of like, Aldis comes out after. This was supposed, like, let's put it this way. This was supposed to be scheduled ring time for Rhea Ripley to cut a promo. That's all they announced. So that's, if you want to go in universe, the general manager was like, I'll give a few minutes for this champion to say whatever she wants to say. Not planning that people would come out and interrupt necessarily. But then you get Flair interrupts, and you get Stratton interrupts, and then you get the Jade crew interrupting, and then the challenge for a match. And then he comes out and goes, hey, you know what? That makes sense. It's very telling about how middle management goes, where it's like middle management doesn't actually do anything anywhere. They just kind of, the lower employees do the work, and then they go, okay, cool, I'll take credit for this. And then they tell the upper management, look what I did. And I guess maybe that's the truth of the whole matter. But like, realistically speaking, he just booked a match, a 6-woman tag team match. They argue all the time about, well, the contract needs to be signed and all. Are they signing a contract right now ringside? No. So that doesn't make any sense. And I like that, I like my WWE stuff more than my AEW stuff once in a while, here and there. It all depends on what it is. But one thing I like a lot about AEW that I wish that WWE would take some notes for is that they have those things every once in a while where they're just like, okay, well, we have this standby match as like a backup, and you don't need an explanation for it. You just say that it was a standby match, and you say, we had booked that this title shot was going to be a 30-minute time limit. We had 30 minutes allocated to it. It went down to 15 minutes. We had an extra 15 minutes. Serpentico's ringside, and he's going to get his ass kicked by Brody King. Okay, cool.
Yeah, they did do that. I also liked this past episode of Dynamite where it was just like, and Andrade's in a squash match, and that's awesome. Like, hey, sometimes that just happens. Andrade's in a match. He, he beat his opponent soundly because this person's a rookie, and now we have more time for the rest of the show.
Also wish that WWE would go back to having the time limits, because man, that helps out AEW so much. And they used to have it. It's not like they never had that rule. But you don't want to do that. So yeah, we do have our 6-woman tag going on right now.
It's just the 2-on-2.
Oh, it's just 2-on-2? They didn't even bother to put BFAB in there? Yeah, okay,
well,
so she's just ringside.
Ripley wasn't dressed to wrestle. That's what I thought it would come later.
I thought that they were going to, hey, let's do that as our main event, or, some kind of bullshit like that, yeah. Weird that BFAB isn't the one wrestling and that Jade is. Since they usually would, Jade would be sitting on the outside and it would be Micha and BFAB.
I mean, I'm no booker, but if you're just like, hey, Callum, if I told you Michin, Jade Cargill, and BFAB, which one would you put on the outside of the squared circle?
But the one that's clearly is going in outside the circle, outside the squared circle right now. Like so, yeah, BFAB isn't great. So
I mentioned this in an article recently, and I don't mean for it to be mean, but it's going to sound mean. How is BFAB still around on this roster, realistically? Like, she's been on this roster for a long time, and they never really utilize her other than as enhancement talent. She doesn't really wrestle all that much, even as an enhancement person. She doesn't talk much because usually when she's in some kind of talking segment, it's, Jade does most of the talking anyway, and then Michin talks a little bit, and then BFAB has a line or two. And it's not like she was really helping out with the Street Profits. She has never really had a win for anything for the most part. She's not all that good. After all this time, it can't be a matter of like, well, she's so good in the ring or something that's how you keep her around. Like, why is it that she's impervious to these releases of these?
She's not impervious. She's been cut by that company at least once.
Well, the one time, but in the meantime, they've fired how many people that are more like, we have a specific storyline going on with this person and that we're focused on this person, and now we're going to fire them on the last minute. But BFAB sticks around, and I'm like, the only thing I can think of is that her contract must be so low that they must be like, well, we're not really saving all that much money,
First of all, yeah, that does come off a little mean, but I understand your point. I think my guess was also it must be a money thing. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be that, or if it's not that, it's wow, they must really admire the fact that she wants to be there. They're kind of like, you can't discount loyalty and the desire to be in the WWE space.
Do you think it's just a matter of them being like, wow, we admire her passion?
No, I think it's the contract, but I think if I had to give you a second reason, it might be that.
I think it's probably a mixture of the fact that, like, yeah, the contract's probably pretty low, and so there's not a huge incentive to get rid of her compared to other people that would make more of an impact. And also, she's probably, like, we don't see it, but she's probably just quite well liked backstage, so they don't want to rock the boat too much with it.
That doesn't always save you. See New Day, but like, I imagine
New Day were asked to reduce their contract, and they said that they weren't going to do it. Whereas I assume BFAB has never been paid that much to really necessitate that happening.
Or if she was asked, maybe because it's a real thing, you can do the math and be like, this is still more money than I might get doing something else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, we don't know how much anybody makes on the roster at any point, but obviously there are different levels. There's people that are on Evolve don't make as much money as people on NXT. People on NXT get a different roster contract when they go up to the main roster. Somebody like Randy Orton is making more money than Otis, but at the same time, I'm just always like, man, like they fire people left and right like crazy. And BFAB's still sticking around, and like, good for her, like I'm not wishing her to be fired or anything, but it is just surprising. And I wish that would be the type of thing that, like, if we heard any specific things that were like, oh, everybody particularly loves her or something, like, then it would be like, all right, now I understand it. But you just never hear anything.
I think everything that we've brought up so far is probably a factor, whether it's the contract or the fact that she does try very hard. So that must mean she has people going to bat for her. Like she's doing the training classes with Natty and TJ at least once or twice per week. Maybe she's just very well liked. There's a lot of intangibles. Like I've always said, the reason that the Good Brothers since 2016 have been fired and rehired at least 2 or 3 times is probably because when it comes time for cuts, they're like, these guys are gonna be fine. They'll go elsewhere. They'll make a ton of money. We can afford, like they can lose this and maybe not feel so bad. But maybe they take that element of it into account as well. Of like, it's probably beneficial for all parties. So let's just keep her around. Random discussion about BFAB that I don't think we would have had in any other podcast.
Yeah, I mean, anything like that. Check to see what's going on in the chat right now. I see that the guy 123 has been posting some stuff here and there. Guy 123 says, "I hate Chris Jericho facing mid-carders that will never be the main guys, so it just feels pointless. He would have been better going to WWE. I would kill for AEW to go."
Hold on. So he can face mid-carders that won't be the main guy. What do you mean? Like, what would he have done in WWE that would be different?
I mean, I don't know. Fighting LA Knight. It would be basically the same sort of scenario. You would assume maybe at the start he would end up getting some kind of title shot against like a Cody or something, maybe. But I'm not clamoring for it. I don't really want Chris Jericho putting up a fight against Obafemi. 123 also says, "I would kill for AEW to grow some balls and tell some real controversial stories."
Like what?
Why?
Wrestling in general needs some controversial stories, like a race story. Go all the way with it. Or if someone's trans, someone should go full MAGA so you can feel sympathy for the character. Movies do it, so why can't pro wrestling?
Dude, I
don't want any MAGA anywhere, but
they tried that. They tried that stuff with like the Dan Lambert thing, and everyone hated it. So
yeah, it's true. I forgot about the Lambert stuff.
Yeah, they tried as far as like edgy language. They tried it with Lambert. I always thought it was
nobody likes shit like that.
I think it depends on what it is, and it depends on how you do it. Like, I like controversial stories, but I don't like. Let's put it this way: I don't like controversial for the sake of controversial. Where it's like the whole point is to be edgy. I think that kind of already makes it like quirky for the sake of quirky, or like you mentioned like the language thing. Like, I don't give a fuck about language. I mean, I just used the word fuck in that sense just to say that. But like, some people would be like, ooh, like they said shit. And I'm like, yeah, they should be able to. They're adults. But like, if somebody's like, that's like a talking point, then I kind of feel like when little kids are kind of like, yeah, well, you're a poopy head, ooh, I said crap instead of poop.
But like wrestling fans are very much that way. Like, let's tell the truth here. There is always a little bit of a something whenever the word shit gets used, or for a while they were really big on bitch. Like there is that vibe. I don't think that audience in particular would want that kind of a story. I think even if you tell, even if you told a story about like some super conservative woman against Nyla Rose in AEW, I think people would just be upset.
But controversial stories typically just don't work because wrestling writers or just creators don't have the nuance or the ability to tell stories of that magnitude for it. Like, what counts as controversial? Does it count as controversial that, like, back in the early 90s, we had the WWE champion turn into an Iraqi sympathizer during the midst of the Gulf War? Like, we've had storylines where women have had miscarriages in WWE. Based on storylines and stuff like that. So, like, is it like edgy and controversial, or is it just like, just as Tony said, just doing things for the sake of doing it? Like, as I say, I'm not opposed to any sort of thing if you want to put the time and nuance into it. But wrestling has proven time and time again that it doesn't have the ability to tell these sort of stories, because most forms of media don't have the ability to tell these stories. So, I'd say for me, this sort of thing, wrestling should always just stick to wrestling, because that's the thing that it can do better than any other form of media out there. Like, so like it can like comedy shows can do comedy better than WWE or AEW. Like soap operas can do better drama, and fucking like you'll get more like special effects or anything from like loads of other movies and stuff like that. But wrestling can just do wrestling better than anything else, so it should stick to that as purely as it possibly can.
I want to speak to the Americano thing again, because that actually made me realize exactly what Callum just said.
It's called wrestling is simple. It's just you want two guys, two girls, a tag team, whatever it is, any configuration of people. You give them either a personal issue or a championship to go after and stuff like that, and you just let them build a feud naturally between them. You don't need to do, there's a period of time where you did a few more like bells and whistles, and you had supernatural characters or anything like that. But like realistically, wrestling at its core is just this person doesn't like this person for this reason, and they're going to fight about it. And that should be at least, I'd say at least a solid 90% of your card should literally just be that in every circumstance. And like people say, well, that's boring, or like needs some variety. It's like it doesn't really if you do it all well. Like it's not like I'm ever watching I don't know, an episode of this goes like it's a silly analogy, but like a MasterChef or a Hell's Kitchen, and say like, wow, this is good and all, like watching all the people like cook and all the drama surrounding that. But it's like I wish one of them would just break out into the can at some point. Like, because it'll be different. Like I've seen all the cooking shows and stuff like that, but I need something different. But no, if you like it, then that's what you want to see all the time.
I think. By the way, we've got Fatal Influences beating up Brie, Bella, and Nikki just a habit, and Paige.
They're finally getting a new set of photos, it seems, at the very least, because they've been using Paige's like 2020 graphic or whatever on the website. Which, by the way, website update, they finally fucking got rid of the NXT Heritage Cup. That's a major hot tag in my brain.
Yeah, when I saw that, I immediately was just like, "Oh, Tony needs to know that."
Took them long enough. I've been bitching about this for a fucking year, and I'm like, how much you want to bet the reason why is because somebody, like the recent trademark of the Global Heritage Invitational or something, it's gotta be that they clicked on there and they were like, oh, we need to update that for something. Oh, fuck, we forgot about that. Oh, yeah, the Johnson was supposed to do that, 7 months ago, and he didn't do it. Yeah. So I'm curious what the actual stance is of when Stax lost the Heritage Cup, because they're not ever going to address it whatsoever, I'm sure. But, hey, look at that. Yeah.
Well, I just think it's like funny timing, because like, what else is Noam Dar there to do?
It's exactly like it follows Noam Dar, and he's had a couple segments since returning, and it's mostly just been about like mentoring Romeo Moreno. But something about that, there must be something that's like intrinsically tied, spiritually between that trophy and fucking Noam Dar, because he comes back and then it's like, oh, you know what happened to that fucking trophy? Oh yeah, Stax just stopped carrying it. Okay, well, since Noam Dar's around here, maybe we should. And if it ends up being that they set this all up for Noam Dar to win it again, just fucking hand it to the guy, let him take it home, keep it forever. Like, this is just this guy's actual trophy,
You might as well, like, it's either that or you, like, do a cast of Alicia Fox and put him on his wall instead, because that's the only two accolades he's ever really got out of WWE.
But it has to be Alicia Fox, but like really put the emphasis on the. I don't know how you would do it, but just the way he said Alicia Fox is 90% of what I think. Alicia Fox. And
I mean, they referenced it even with Romeo Moreno. when he was doing his whole like, oh man, like I watched you growing up, and it was just like crazy because it's like, you know, this 20-something-year-old's like, oh, as a kid, and it's like, oh man, no, I'm Dar. That was like 10 years ago. That's right. He was like, you know, you and the Heritage Cup and Alicia Fox.
I'm sorry. Did you just say that they did a story of someone saying, "I really watched Noam Dar growing up." Jesus Christ, do I feel older than ever. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Romeo Moreno is 23 years old.
Yeah, I guess that would make him 12 or 13 when Noam Dar was doing that. Incredible.
The last time that Noam Dar was champion with the Heritage Cup was, 2025.
Saying that like 5 years ago, it's last year.
But like the real like Noam Dar as the champion and all was 2021, so 5 years ago. But even then, he was a teenager, Romeo, at that point.
But the Alicia Fox stuff really was like 10 years ago, which is just crazy to think about.
So that Wikipedia is listing the Heritage Cup being officially deactivated on July the 12th, 2025. Saying, according to like WWE saying that even though it remained active on the website, it was updated to having been retired on the date that Tony D'Angelo stole it and threw it off a bridge.
That's wrestling for you. Man, I'm fucking so excited for SmackDown to go back to 2 hours. I hate this shit. Why do we need this is a third or the fourth segment with fucking R-Truth and Royce Keys when every week they do 4 of these? It's the same thing. God, I would love to be this type of a writer that goes, I've got one idea. Let's milk 19 segments of it for the fucking next 5 months, and I don't have to do any work anymore. I just go repeat. There's nothing that Royce Keys just said to R-Truth that is not a paraphrase of what they've been saying for the previous segment, the last week's 2-3 segments, the week prior's 2 to 3 segments. It's literally just, I've got issues with the MFTs. Damian Priest doesn't know if he could trust me. Over and over and over again. My God. What did Ricky Saints just pick up from the ground? Speaking of repeating, it's Carmelo Hayes against Ricky Saints again. Now, in the interest of, hey, just have wrestling and stuff, I like when you can do like a series between some people every once in a while, and these guys have some good enough chemistry, so that makes perfect sense. Going back to Guy123 in the chat saying about the controversial storyline stuff, there's a reason why JBL was great in 2004.
No, he wasn't. Cut you off right there. He wasn't.
I miss old school heels. Now people are scared about being canceled, even though it's not real. MJF says things that are, quote unquote controversial.
I think, but first of all, the JBL thing, your mileage may vary. Like, that was the kind of angle that, it worked at the time. It played on something that.
But didn't SmackDown died in that era? SmackDown became the absolute B show in that period after being like pretty much either on par or even better than Raw in the 2002, like in the early stages of the brand split. Like JBL's run killed any chance of that brand being considered like an equal footing with Raw.
That was the year that Raw began to run away with it.
Exactly,
and I think that's largely due to the fact that Bradshaw had just gone from being a tag team guy for his whole career to suddenly he was the WWE champion
in weeks. He was he wasn't the same at the same level, but it was somewhat comparable to the Jinder Mahal rise to the championship of
and that being
literally
said,
just being a tag team wrestler with the APA for pretty much his entire career, and then a week after that group split up, he then just has a different gimmick and he's been pushed towards the main event.
That being said, I think a lot of people have retroactively forgotten this, but in a lot of ways, so was Guerrero. In a lot of ways, like Guerrero was maybe, like a mid card guy, but for that rise, a lot of tag team stuff, and certainly was pushed to the moon in the world title very quickly at a time where no one really thought he was going to beat Brock Lesnar. So what you had was a situation where in the previous 6 months, the WWE title was fought over by guys like Lesnar and Angle and, Taker. And suddenly you're like, Eddie Guerrero versus JB. Like, it was a jarring thing to go to. And that's me speaking as a kid in I was 10 years old when that happened. Like, that was jarring even for me to just be like, wait, Bradshaw's just like a top guy now, and Guerrero's just a top guy now. As far as what he's saying in terms of the JBL, doing the thing at the border, I would make the argument that at the time, tensions with that kind of stuff weren't even as high as they are now. The reason so much of that stuff is just so viscerally hated, to see again, El Grande Americano was a very MAGA rooted thing. He was announced as being from the Gulf of America. He was announced as, basically just the American guy hating foreigners. And people hated it because it's different now. I don't know how to explain it better than I am right now, but it is just different. People don't want this kind of stuff in what is to be their escapism.
We got Grim in the chat. Have to say the weekend at Benoit's line cracked me up in the latest draft video.
Yeah,
I half expect to see a Logan on a pole match from Cal.
Yeah, it's more of a Logan on a noose match, if you think you'll find. But
Logan Pole instead of Logan Paul.
Jesus. That match taking place somewhere in a forest.
Yeah, just wait to see if I put it in my fantasy bookie. That's the real kicker.
Yeah, no set plans of when we're going to record that, but we might as well talk about it while we're on a commercial break from SmackDown right now. How have your cards come along throughout this? Mine was super fast, and partially because it's like, how many fucking tag teams do I have? I wonder how many tag teams are going to go up against tag teams. Have you guys finished your cards?
I have a job, so I haven't looked at it yet. Like, the weekend is where I'll do my search. I haven't even thought about my cards since we did the draft. So
I've done a lot of just penciling in of, I like this, but I also like this. I haven't nailed down all of the ways that I'm going to present the matches, because there's going to be a lot of gimmicks to mine, just because that's the way that my card fell with some of the names I got. But one of the toughest things for me was just going, all right, I've got this group of main eventers. Now I need to, do I want to present them in a way that's just unique to me, or do I want to present them in a way that like is safe, or how do I go with it? Because, like, for example, I've got Cena, Austin, Hogan, Brock. You can mix and match those four names in a lot of ways that would be like good to a card, but also we've seen Brock versus Cena, so probably not going to do that. Do you do Cena Hogan? Do you do Austin Hogan? That's a lot of where my brain is thinking for the most part.
I'm about 90% certain that the roster setup that I've got going on is probably the way that I'm going to keep it for my fantasy card. I have played around with a couple little things. Like, I'll spoil this. Bret Hart has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that I was like, hey, Brett against that person could work. And it's predominantly me being like, okay, well, which one of them do I want to put up against Brett? And then the rest of the card will kind of like, well, some of the card is pretty set. Like, I'm very clearly not going to put the Killer Bees up against fucking Bobby Lashley and Grayson Waller. You know what I mean? Like, it's some things are going to stick around exactly where they are. But, you know, when I'm looking at Brett and Roman and Triple H and JBL and Bobby Lashley and Davey Boy and Yokozuna and like the people that are actually like good on my crew, there's a couple people that I was like, I can only do this one thing with. And a couple people that I have a little bit more flexibility for, but I'm pretty certain I'm going to keep the first draft that I did throughout this whole thing. And a couple of them you might be surprised about, actually. There's a few that I don't think anybody would be surprised about whatsoever, like based off of the way that I book things. But some of them, I don't know. I'm going to play around with your cards, your rosters a little bit at some point too, and try to figure out like the difference between them. Still haven't figured out if I'm going to make that a dark cast or if I'm going to just mention that really quickly on the episode when we record it or something, because it'll all depend on how much I actually do. I haven't figured out the dark cast yet, or the, you know, other plans. That's another option. Is, you know, something in the future.
The first match I solidified immediately was The Undertaker's. And he will be in a match against someone who he's never faced. And my only thing is, okay, what kind of stipulation match benefits both of these men? And there's a lot of that for like I've got Andre, and it's like, okay, do you put him against
Tony Atlas?
You know, why, so he can get stomped on? Do you put him against a John Cena and just go, John Cena lifts up Andre? I thought about that. What about Andre Brock? You know, and I'm not super solidified on where I'm going with Brock, so maybe that is a place where he lands. But there's so many different ways you can mix and match, and I really want to do fun, unique things while doing service to all the great names I got lucky enough to get in the randomizer.
Yeah, you're lucky as hell with that randomizer, man.
yeah, but it gets you to the point where, like, okay, I'll spoil this. There's going to be a guitar and a pole match between Jesse James and the Honky Tonk Man, because what do you really do with that era of the Road Dogg and the Honky Tonk Man? You know, like...
So you got a guitar and a pole match. Grim is suggesting a Logan on a pole match. I feel like I need to have a pole somewhere in there. And, I don't know. Maybe that's where I throw in Farouk or something. Farouk is on fire.
Are you going to book him in an Inferno match?
I haven't been paying too much attention to this Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes match, but it's been, you know, good from what I've been seeing, and they're just, you know, they're having a match.
Like, it's one of those things where, man, if this was 20 years ago, you gotta go to watch that. Right now, it's like, yeah, this is the average match experience. It's great. I'm just going to randomly jump topics here and get a little AEW discussion going. Callum, are there too many people in the Don Callis family?
I guess I'll talk about the show itself into the Dynamite. So, yeah, having Kevin Knight join the Don Callis family is probably not the most interesting route you could have taken with him. I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. It's just not a particularly inspired one. Because I'm what I imagine is, or at least what my hope is with a move like that, is that the story is progressing to a point now with the Don Callis family where they have just too many big names in that group. Too many names of people that could be top guys in that group, with like Fletcher, Okada, not Rich, Andrade, Kevin Knight, like obviously previously had Takeshita, but just like having a lot of names of people that could be top champions or could be positioned as top champions, that those egos are going to start clashing. I mean, we know that like the clock is ticking on Andrade's connection with the group. He'll be gone within like a month or two, I imagine, if not.
How you know?
That's just my assumption. But then,
I love that man. I am so happy for that man. Like he's doing great and he's fun to watch, and I'm really happy to see it's finally clicking for Andrade.
yeah, I mean that was the thing, is like he had his match against like an enhancement talent, and then it was just undercut by the announcement that Kevin Knight's now part of the family. So Kevin Knight Don Callis just found another like thoroughbred to add to his roster, and so he's just going to start forgetting about the other ones. So, and it could add an interesting dynamic as well, because Kevin Knight is the TNT champion. Cole Fletcher never lost that title, and seems to be that he was still eyeing that title as well, even though it now seems pretty apparent that he's going to go after Takeshita in the international title instead. But yeah, now Callis has got a number of people that he has to try and balance his time and his efforts towards. So I imagine that it will come crumbling down eventually. But yeah, say it's not the most inspired thing, but I think there hasn't really been anyone who's been really hurt by being part of the Don Callis family.
Except for the various individuals who've been injured.
Literally hurt, like literally physically
Yes.
hurt. Yes, very much so. Not in terms of like their star power or reputation, at least not to a point where it's like insalvageable. But I mean, yeah, there were some big things that came out of like the Dynamite show. Like I thought that the MJF and Roosh match was really good.
Yeah,
And MJF is still very much like saying, "Oh, I will literally fight, not literally fight anyone, but like saying I'm fine for defending the title against certain level of people because that's what my star power is. But I absolutely cannot face Mark Briscoe for this title."
I like this. Was there barbed wire? Was it barbed wire or was it glass? The gimmick match that they had before.
Well, Briscoe, and that was it was the match of like 1,000 thumbtacks or something, wasn't it?
It was thumbtacks and glass.
Thumbtacks and tables.
Right. And I like that, and I kind of wish it would have paused there, but this is a good way to
We did pause there.
put a bow on that story that they never got to wrap up. And
That match was like at Full Gear, wasn't it? Or Wrestle Dream or something like that. It's been like nearly a year since that match happened.
I think that was the match before MJF took on Hangman in the one-on-one. Or
no, definitely.
definitely
Wasn't. Yeah, it definitely wasn't. It was like after the first. It was. I don't know if it was the pay-per-view or the pay-per-view after MJF's first one-on-one title shot with Hangman that he lost. Before the.
Okay.
It was a couple of months because he left for a little while, and then he used his contract to get into the Fatal 4-Way match at World's End. But yeah, that was the one that like signaled him going away for a couple of months to, I think, film a movie or something. But yeah, that was good. I was quite interested with the Tekla promo segment.
With the Stardom thing?
Yeah, where she because people that know or at least have followed Tekla before her joining AEW, she has a very fittingly toxic relationship with Stardom. Having left Stardom and being I think she was in kayfabe fired from the promotion because she built up her entire reputation of essentially wanting to kill off the idol culture in Stardom. And so she absolutely hates Stardom, and anytime she's ever gone back to Stardom since then in some crossover shows, all she does is try and beat up the management and take down top people there. So obviously they're setting up for her to defend the title against the top Stardom person at Forbidden Door. So it'd be interesting to see who they send over to do the job. But
is there anybody in mind that you guys think is going to be like the obvious challenger or anything? I don't follow Stardom, so I have no idea who's even in the promotion at all, let alone who's got a lot of momentum or anything.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of choices. I think it's quite interesting that Utami Hayashishita recently rejoined Stardom from Marigold, so maybe there's something to do with that. You have people like Shiori, but Shiori's going to be fighting Athena for the Ring of Honor title soon. So I don't imagine that they would have her also challenge for that. Azumi's always an evergreen pick. You've got B Priestley now over in Stardom as well. No, so she's rejoined that as well. The former Blair Davenport, of course. You've got people like just trying to see who else would fit quite well. They've used Momo Watanabe quite a few times, so maybe they decide to just lean into that one. Saito Kamitani's no longer the World of Stardom champion, so they could go down that route instead. Got people like Starlight Kid, Suzuki. You can't really go wrong with a lot of the Stardom women because they are just very talented. So, and the person who faces Tekla's not going to beat her for the title anyway, so you might as well just try and go with one of the best matches possible. You go Maki Ito. Maki Ito's now in Stardom, so could go with that if you wanted to.
I mean, she was complaining about the whole, like, was it kawaii? Is that the thing?
Yeah. And that's very much what's...
I don't know that term. I'm not super adapted into the, market, but yeah, I mean, that's very Maki Ito, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's the failed idol, so like that could be a way of promoting that. Yeah, so there's plenty of possibility. Like that I'm sure that Stardom will be able to find a fitting person. But then again, we know that Tekla won't be dropping the title there because she'll be dropping the title to Mercedes Moné after the end of this, probably at All In, I imagine.
Yeah, that's it's a big topic. Mercedes Moné popping up and filling in for Willow Nightingale ends up being the one that is the wild card up against Alex Windsor. And I was, in the camp of that's not going to be her, because if that was the plan, then she would have been planned from the beginning, and it wouldn't have made any sense for her to be a wild card and an injury that they wouldn't have seen happening. But, I mean, there's plenty of instances where you just kind of switch things around, and it's like, hey, maybe that wasn't the plan, and it was going to be Willow winning. Maybe Mercedes wins now because they were able to go, Mercedes, hey, are you able to just come back and just fill in that role and just do that match? And then maybe she loses. She doesn't have to win the tournament, but I would assume at this point that Mercedes probably wins.
Yeah, it could be that route. The only things I consider is whether it is obviously just the case of Willow was going to be the person earmarked to win it, and then she just gets eliminated or gets injured, and so they have to bring someone else in, or whether they set the card or set the layout of the brackets knowing that Willow was not going to be able to compete in it, and that they were going to replace her with Mercedes, but have used the fact that she would have been in it as fuel for when she comes back. Say, I should have been in that tournament. Let's say Mercedes wins and wins the title, either. Then Willow could come back and say, well, I should have, you took my place in that tournament, and so I should get a title shot against you, or I deserve a title shot against you because you took what I would have won that tournament instead, and would be standing with the title that you're holding now if it wasn't for my injury. So, yeah, either way, it's good to see Mercedes back. She has a slightly different presentation. She wasn't different entrance theme, which I assume you enjoyed.
I actually did not hear that she had a separate entrance theme. I didn't watch the match at all. I was in the other room taking care of some other things and didn't realize that they had switched to that segment. And by the time I came around, I was like, all right, let me try to catch up on what I missed out on. And I was about to rewind everything and see what I was at. But then I was like, oh shit, Mercedes is in the ring. And then about 45 seconds after I had noticed that that's what was happening, then the end of the match ended up happening, and I was like, all right, well, I don't need to rewind to find out that it was Mercedes that came out, But does her new theme still have the stupid CEO shit, or did they get rid of that?
It still has the ability. It still has a tune which allows you to chant CEO, but it's not saying CEO.
Is it still Dvorak? The dun, 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 dun.
No, it's the same theme. It's definitely the same words.
So it's not anything different.
It might be a remix.
Yeah. Boo. I don't like that fucking CEO
it did start. did start with CO, but it does start with CO.
It's a remix. It's a remix a little bit. At least it's a remake. It's a remix, but definitely same words that I could tell.
But
I'm gonna have to keep hearing that.
But but her presentation is slightly different though. It's like she was wearing a lot of like dark gear, had like different like dark hairstyle. She didn't do a lot of dancing to the ring and stuff like that as well that she usually does. So she clearly, I think they're doing. She has some sort of difference in like attitude or demeanor now, which I don't think we'll see like expanded upon until after the tournament probably, because she'll probably just focus on the wrestling side of things for now. But yeah, it's obviously great to see her back because like she is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, so it's always good to see someone of that caliber appearing on your show every week.
I'm excited. I'm ready to see her win the women's world title. She's definitely a name who can carry that division. I think her versus Tekla will be a lot of fun. It's a different kind of match. It's a different kind of challenge where there will be a lot of, I think, vitriol on the mic. And yeah, I'm just glad to see Mercedes back.
So, I mean, in terms of like my like obviously as mentioned, it seems like Mercedes will win the tournament now. Her next opponent would be either Persephone or Hazuki, depending on who wins that match. She has history of Hazuki back from when she was the New Japan Women's Champion, but they might decide to go with Persephone just because it's a fresher opponent, and Mercedes does well as like the smaller person against the bigger base like Persephone, so that could work well. And then I think Saraya is going to beat Sky Blue in their match next week, and then it'll be Athena versus Saraya. I still firmly believe that Saraya is going to beat Athena, and that will set up a Ring of Honor women's title match in the future. Because I think if you have the opportunity to do Mercedes Moné versus Saraya at Forbidden Door, then you just do it, because that's in many people's probably estimations argument, that's the two best women's wrestlers in the world right now going up against each other.
And it's Forbidden Door.
Yeah, and it's them two. It's probably them two at the moment, and like Io Sky at that level. Probably some others from like Stardom in Japan and stuff like that. Like you potentially could put like a Tony Storm or a Rhea Ripley in that level as well. But certainly Mercedes and Saraya very much in the at least top 10, if not top 5 discussion. So I'd say if you have the ability to book that match, you book that match. And we've seen Mercedes versus Athena as well. I don't think we need to revisit it just yet.
And I think they're going to go with Persephone because Persephone beat her. I think they're telling the story of Windsor beat her for the Rev Pro. She beat Windsor back. I think she's going to beat Persephone now.
Yeah, because she is the CMLL Women's World Champion, so it would make sense to her to get the victory there.
Let's catch up on the chat that's been happening here and there. Let's see. As a wrestler with Benoit, even today, I think the only person who can lace his boots now is Bryan Danielson. Well, not Danielson anymore. He's retired, it seems.
Yeah.
No one has the kind of intensity like Benoit. Ospreay isn't anywhere near as good as people say. He's damn good, but he isn't up there with the greats. Okada is the Randy Orton of AEW.
Our commenters are very smart, are they? Some of them, really.
In my opinion, Del Rio is better overall as an overall package than Andrade for me. Unpopular opinion. Piece of shit, but talented. Great at playing a heel. I hate fucking Del Rio. I never liked Del Rio.
You didn't like Del Rio even when it was like
at his peak. I never liked Del Rio. I was always just kind of like, there's something about him, and it's not that he's a heel, but there's something about him that doesn't stick right with me. And I don't think he should be a champion. Like, if he would have only been an Intercontinental champion or United States champion, okay. But he should never have been a world champion multiple times. I hate that idea. Frankie's in the chat now too. Finally got here for one of the live hot tags. Going to check the rest back after. I would, impromptu things. You never know when these things are going to go live. So all the more reason why you guys should have your email alerts set up, and that way we do go live for things. And you get those messages. There's emails. Mercedes
It's about
go
notifications.
away, more like Mercedes Roman. She should change her gimmick. She sucks, worst gimmick in wrestling. A remix to a bad song. She should go back to her fake fan service, $100 to speak to AI account. that whole pay $90 or whatever to talk to Mercedes. If any one person in the world did that, you fucking loser.
I suppose we have like that again. So close that it's supposed to be like sometimes that the not to make this about it, like the audience to be cultivated. Because me and Rob in particular speak so glowingly about Mercedes in terms of her ability and stuff like that, and yet it seems like most of our commentators absolutely hate her, and I don't know, like, why are you here listening to us talk about that stuff?
People don't like winners.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm being dead honest. Because we're talking about a culture that has convinced themselves for a minute that Sami Zayn was Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he's politicking backstage.
People don't like winners. And I don't know what that is. I don't know why it is that we need to see like a different person win every single month. But like people don't like consistent winners.
I think that the issue, as somebody who is not as big on Mercedes as you two are, but still acknowledges that she's a Hall of Famer and all the other kind of good stuff that she is. I think that the issue for some people that I can connect to where, like, let me specify this again. I always want to mince my words because I don't want people to do the whole fill in the blank thing. I am not the, oh my God, Sami Zayn is like Hulk Hogan side of things. Don't think I'm endorsing that. But that's a further extreme than what I can get to. But what I can see there being a rational / irrational point of view, depending on how strongly you feel, I think people get bored with not seeing the chase of something, and that they personally get themselves invested in the idea of, like, whether it's Cody or if it's Roman or if it's Sammy or Bryan Danielson or Johnny Gargano or like any of these people that over the years have gotten some kind of like, you should push this guy or this girl or whatever. I think that they want to feel like they championed that person to get to that point because it's good for them. And then once they get that satisfaction of the person getting the push, they've already had their dopamine. So then they're like, okay, well, now I need to chase the next one. Kind of the way that, like, people, oh my God, we need another fucking Royce Keys and Solo Sikoa segment on 4 segments on every goddamn episode of this.
Dude, it's got 3 hours to fill.
Oh my God, I hate this shit so much. I'm not even going to listen to it. I'm sure it's pointless. It's the way that like some people do with relationships, where people will be like, they're addicted to the idea of the brand new excitement of the relationship rather than actually being in a relationship. And I think some of them are like, I really want to be supporting somebody that hasn't made it yet more than I actually care about that person. And my issues with Mercedes are mostly, I think that she thinks that she's better than she is. And I think that her fans glaze her to a like level that's in the same kind of way as like all the other kind of stands, where it's like everybody can calm down a little bit. Like Mercedes is one of the best wrestlers that's ever been in women's wrestling, I think. But at the same time, she is not the greatest wrestler, men and women, of all time. Like, okay, then fucking relax a little bit on that, you know.
But every single wrestler in history has at least one fan that thinks that of that particular wrestler. There's people out there that would think that
Heinrich.
Like, well, I said anyone that's had fans. I say.
Yeah, by the way, back in the news. He's
God, what did he do now?
He's doing an interview. No, he's just back in the public eye. He's doing an interview with Chris Van Vliet. I don't think
he never did anything.
I don't know.
I don't think he's ever done anything.
I don't fucking know. I just assume everybody in wrestling's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I assume that Nathan Jones is walking around literally ordering food going, give me some peas. I had peas before. You know?
that's Luther Reigns anyway. But like, it's
same fucking thing. Heidenreich
that's
and Nathan. God, I almost called him Nathan Lane. For that matter, Nathan Lane. Throw him in there. Nathan Jones and Luther Reigns.
Springtime for
Heidenreich.
I mean, he was nearly a Nazi.
Yeah, he was doing it.
That's what I mean. Yeah, it all comes. It's all full circle.
Wait, hold on. What was the deal? The same writing staff that pitched that, Heidenreich being a frozen Nazi, pitched Hirohito. What was going on in 2000?
So someone who really loved like World War II, like paraphernalia and stuff like that.
Yeah, somebody was like, World War II is the greatest thing that's ever happened in the history of the world.
So they probably because like every single week on the History Channel, there's a new documentary about the Nazis. So clearly they were just watching a lot of the History Channel at that point in time and using that to motivate all their ideas.
I mean, I not to get too sidetracked, but I've posited a theory before that the World War II was basically the Avengers for our universe. It's the Battle of New York, the kind of central point that like everything in our timeline revolves around at this point.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but if that's
we got Captain America, we got where would who would be what countries? What are we doing in there? Obviously, we know the fact that Loki is specifically been told, there are always men like you and stuff in Germany. But what is happening now with Danhausen? Who's this dude that's like tossing out t-shirts with him? Some dude.
It's just a guy there on commercial.
Did all of Italy just get cursed?
No.
Or the entire company?
They were telling Wade Barrett he's going to be cursed.
I really hate how much I like Danhausen.
He's great.
I just hate having to eat crow. I'll do it, because I have my, I'm always going to admit when I'm wrong kind of thing. But like, damn it, it's fun.
See, the funny thing is, though, Tony, you aren't wrong. You weren't wrong. You just have poor standards.
Hey, that might apply to some aspects of my life.
I mean, as I say, like, I haven't watched a lot of it, but like, I from what I've seen, there's nothing that he's doing in WWE that's different than what he was doing in AEW.
How do we feel about AAA being the first night of Triple Mania in Vegas and the next night in Mexico City?
They announced that?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're trying to appeal to or trying to get more of the American fans into AAA, then I guess it's something that can work. I don't think it's it's. I mean, it kind of goes against, who their core audience is. I'm not saying, because it's not like, Japan has had shows in America quite, like, at least a few times a year. Same with like the UK as well. Like CMLL wrestles in the US as well and does things, goes over to Japan as well and does joint shows with New Japan. So it's not like you have to stay in your home country all the time. So yeah, I'd say if they feel like they've got enough of an audience there, because that's like, it's in the southern half of America. So yeah, I'd say why not? And they do a lot of stuff in Vegas now, WWE anyway, because of the whole TKO relationship. So it's not surprising.
I think that it's kind of smart for them to throw something into the US side of things for people that aren't interested in going over to Mexico, whether it's like, it's like a political thing or it's a matter of crossing the border, safety side of things, because you got to worry about that shit now more than you ever did before because of some fucking idiots. But It's a 2-night thing. So if it would have been a 1-night thing and they had it in Vegas, I think that would have been something where it would have been like, yo, come on, do it in Mexico. But then again, if they did both nights in Mexico, I think that would probably be more justified than anything else. So much wasted time on SmackDown that you just don't need.
Uh-huh. It is that's it will be good for everyone that watches it when it goes back to 2 hours. For they need to cut things down significantly, but that's a lot of it just comes with that they just don't feel like they're moving with anybody at the moment, or not with a lot of people anyway.
Wait, we've got Chad Gable speaking to Ray Fenix.
So is he officially on SmackDown now?
Yes.
Like the same way they moved Finn Balor over without just it just happened.
Well, no. They showed Chad Gable entering Nick Aldis's office. At least they were going to have a conversation.
So it wasn't just a case like we just learned that Finn Balor joined SmackDown because he was in the King of the Ring listed under blue rather than red.
Right. Yeah.
Now Gable's talking to Phoenix now about how he grew respect for the luchador stuff, and he's
so
apologizing.
A new tag team partner that's not his brother. That's great. New tag team partner for Phoenix.
No, he's apologizing. I'm not watching, but it sounds to me it's going to go one or two ways. One, he's either going to be a tag team with Phoenix moving forward, or they're going to have one tag team match where Gable's going to attack him, and then there's just going to be a feud between those two instead.
I mean, the fact that he's like, oh, I specifically asked Nick Aldis so I could come here to apologize to you face to face. Roman, his idea of an apology was throw up the ones and be like, now you all need to listen to me again.
He's never said the word sorry, never uttered that 5-letter word. But do we need to talk about that in general? We already probably discussed it, whether it's so obvious that that's where they were going, just to reform the bloodline, or a new iteration of the bloodline. You're just replacing Jacob for Solo, but then also have Solo involved. I thought that was nuts to me. How not just I knew that was going to happen in terms of the bloodline just reforming, because that just seemed what they were going to do. I thought it was just nuts though with how you have Solo Sikoa pretty much be the end segment of the show, with him staring down Roman or staring down what the hell is the bloodline, just for oh, is this what we're supposed to be excited about? Not that most people would be excited, but then on the very next show, Solo is not only beaten in a King of the Ring qualifying Fatal 4-Way match, he's the one taking the pin.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that I didn't understand what they were doing with that, because they made a point to have him the final guy, and have Roman look at them and go, and by the way, they're next, and then go, yeah, Solo's gonna lose though.
I could understand him not advancing if they just wanted to go straight to a match with Roman Reigns, but why is he the one that's actually being pinned by Obafemi? It's just it does get to the point where I feel like I was thinking about this earlier about Triple H's just overall booking, because again, I've never been haven't been a huge fan since his NXT days, but I feel like right now he's playing things super safe, and that to me strikes as the attitude you take when you feel like you're under pressure.
Sorry, who's taking it real safe?
Triple H. With his booking. Because it just feels like it's the same people going to there's certain things, that sort of philosophy that has something like having Brock Lesnar beat Obafemi at Clash in Italy. It's okay, just maintain the status quo, don't really rock the boat or try and do anything super new or innovative. And I think you only take that sort of attitude when you feel like you're under pressure. Because if you felt like you were under no pressure, you'd feel more... Well, it's one of two things. You would feel like you just get complacent because there's nothing happening, and you don't feel like there's anything driving you to succeed, or that you, when you are feeling that way, feeling relaxed and settled in your position, then that's the opportunity to start trying a few new things because you feel more like relaxed and feel like, okay, if I make a mistake here, if I do something that's a little bit different and it goes a little bit wrong, still got a lot of credit in the bank. Right now, I think he's in the mindset of just do what I know works. Because if I try anything different and it goes wrong, then I'm in serious trouble here.
Do you think it's more of like
I think that there's a good opportunity
that he's like on the outs?
I think there's a good chance that like if things don't turn around in the next, it won't be like soon, like not like next month, or whatever, but like in the next like year or so, then I don't think it would be out of the question that he's replaced.
Who do you think that they would replace him with?
I have no idea. Like I don't think it'll be some
random ass dude.
Like, well, yeah, I think if he does get replaced, it wouldn't be someone who is in wrestling. It'd just be someone that does television work.
It's not hyperbole to compare this shit to WCW. I'm sorry. I know that that's been done to death over the last quarter century, but the parallels that are forming are crazy, and I can't see Triple H being replaced because if they do, it shows that they've really lost the plot and they just have they're just going to run WWE into the ground. At first, when I would hear stuff like that, like, oh, it's just, they're just using it to prop up the UFC debt and all that, I would be like, yeah, but you're not going to actually kill WWE. If they were to make a move like that, I would say that they're at least open to the idea of WWE just failing and being like, oh, well, on to the next business venture.
I think it depends on like if attitudes towards Triple H continue to deteriorate as they are, because I do think there's a lot of, maybe it might just be a lot of like online noise, because obviously we live more on the online side of professional wrestling and we're more tapped into that side. But there does seem like a growing amount of dissatisfaction towards his approach and the way that WWE Crave is being handled right now. So if that grows to enough of a level where, you know, you have the periods where, like, right towards the end of Vince McMahon's tenure, when, like, you'd had, was it the Fiend versus Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell match, and that after that finished, the crowd just chanting AEW at the end of the show. So if it gets to that sort of level, like to a more specific level where people are either chanting AEW or starting to crap on the creative in, like, chants and stuff like that, then maybe it would actually be celebrated to see Triple H go.
It's weird that, like...
Do you remember when people celebrated seeing Roman go, and by the time we got to the next show, people were chanting, OTC? That would be what the equivalent of that is. People think they want Triple H to go away because they think it'll magically just get better, and not that it couldn't possibly get better, but odds are it won't.
I always go into the devil you know side of things more throughout most aspects of everything that I can think of in life. Change for the sake of change almost always ends up being like, well, fuck, I wish we wouldn't have done that. And like, I'm never really into the idea of like, change is always better. I'm not Barney Stinson, but I would be way more concerned with who TKO would replace Triple H with than if they kept Triple H doing what he's doing now. Like, I don't like what's happening now, but I think it would be significantly worse based off of practically everything that's happened with TKO. Like, they give me no indication that they know better and that they would improve on it. They would just do more of the shit that I already don't like that they do. Most of the things that have happened since the TKO switch are things that I'm not a fan of. And it's gotta be because of TKO. Like, they're the ones that are pushing all the advertisements everywhere. They're the ones that are pushing even more of the celebrity crap. They're the ones that are bringing in people that are like, you know, Stephen A. Smith. And I'm just like, I don't care about Stephen A. Smith. Not only do I not care about other sports, but like, what's the fucking end game here? This guy's going to talk about the Danhausen stuff and then just like disappear. Why did Pat McAfee have to be involved in the WrestleMania stuff? So I assume that anybody that they put in that spot, we're going to lose the stuff that Triple H does that is good, and we're going to only get the bad shit. Like, we're going to siphon out the actual wrestling, and some jackass is going to come in and be like, hello everybody, I'm like Chris Anderson, I'm coming from National Geographic or something, and I'm their content director there. So I think that the content in WWE would be much better if it's just how about we bring in this NASCAR person to have an in-ring promo, and like that kind of crap. So I'm way more concerned with non-Triple H than Triple H. Even though he could do a better fucking job. Like, he's not in any way innocent of bad booking. I'll double check some stuff on the chat right now too. Highlights of the mask versus mask match was JBL. That's Chad Gable when he took his mask off.
He couldn't really hide it, could he?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. We need less goofs. Peter's in chat. Not sure if you talked about this, but do you think WWE realized Stacks became the longest reigning Heritage Cup champion and remembered the cup existed and just deactivated the cup? We talked about it a little bit earlier, yeah. I wish we had more big man in wrestling, like Matt Morgan, Braun Strowman, even Khali. Big men are getting extinct. I got Oba Femi. You got, still big dudes. I agree. Big guys are bigger draws than most small guys as attractions. I wish I could go back to 2010. No ads, just two companies getting millions of views, not 650,000. I don't remember anything in 2010 standing out to me as being particularly great. But
I don't remember TNA getting millions of views.
TNA was still getting like only 1 million, but they were still getting 1 million.
Yeah, but like the TV landscape's changed. Like that's the time where like cable was still like the biggest thing, rather than like streaming and all this other stuff as well. Just the TV landscape changed. Most people don't like. There's a much larger percentage of people that just don't watch TV in general anymore. I don't watch TV pretty much, like almost exclusively. Don't watch TV anymore, so I only watch TV for sports pretty much.
I've been watching a lot of TV, but I've been watching it all on my own dime, like my own outside of like, I'm not going to be like, okay, it's 8:00 on a Tuesday night, I got to watch whatever. Well, I mean, 8:00 on a Tuesday night, it's NXT, but hey, it's time for me to tune in specifically to this channel for anything other than the wrestling stuff. If I was not watching all the WWE and AEW stuff for work purposes, if I was just doing it for fun, I don't think we would have cable TV. I think we would just have like just doing things through the streaming services and all. Because
I've had no TV. I've had stints where I go back to it, largely because it's easier in a case like NXT, where if you want to watch Tuesday at 8 p.m. on a device that is not VPN capable, you just sort of need it. There are benefits to having it, but I understand why a lot of people just don't anymore.
Just saw, I guess somewhat breaking news, but Kaylee Ray just made her return.
Where'd you pop up?
In a Pro Wrestling Eve, like
Nice.
the UK-based women's promotion that is run by Will Ospreay. So take that what you will. I think the All Elite signs will be popping up pretty soon, I imagine.
I would hope so.
That's cool. It's good that she's back. I'm surprised she's back so soon. So I imagine she must have been only on like a 30-day release clause.
When did she get released? How long ago was that?
It was last month, wasn't it?
Was it? I lost track of a lot of that stuff.
She might have just been one of the names that Your contract
Or the
is
contract is
expiring,
fired, maybe.
and we're
Yeah.
not going to renew you.
I think they had her. I just checking to see. Like, I think she. They had her win a match against whoever it was. So I guess people start saying that she's booking herself to win on the Indies now after coming back. It's like big shot in the Indies.
She's gonna go to AEW and refuse to lose to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just seeing if there's like any other sort of like news that I thought was pretty interesting. So that so speaking like AEW stuff, the Butcher and Blade contracts expired, which I'm sure is groundbreaking. Which I'm sure is groundbreaking for everybody.
Like, when I found out, one of my friends was like, "Oh, sucks that they left," and I'm like, what I hate about it is that, like, I enjoyed Gen 1 AEW, and I understand that it's moved on, but a lot of that first, second year stuff is just gone. And the business has gotten better in terms of, like, AEW is more of a traditional company, but I do think that the Butcher and the Blade and the other acts were fun parts of the original run, and not saying they're going to go be groundbreaking team somewhere else, but just like, yeah, I enjoyed their stuff. Like when they had the bunkhouse brawls with the Young Bucks, and like they had one with Cody and Dustin, Dustin and QT. I liked what they did when they were there, and I'm sure they'll have fun doing something else.
Yeah, they seem like a team that's quite destined to TNA being the ceiling for them if they move to like a more bigger name promotion. Although like, I don't know how much TNA is paying anybody right now because they seem to be just losing people left and right. Like they had Minor Grace requested a release from TNA and was granted it, so it's like I don't know who they have in the actual Knockouts division that's there permanently outside of like Indy Hartwell and like that Elegance brand. I don't know who else.
Which is crazy because like even in the doldrums, the women's division would carry TNA with like Deanna and Grace and Mickey James and stuff like that. Like it's really sad. But hey, they got Fabian Eichner. They're all excited about Fabian Eichner.
Oh, is he in there now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he signed a couple of weeks ago.
As Fabian Eichner, because that's his real name, so that makes sense. I mean, he had an upside to him at one point.
It's a good name. He's a good name to have around. Like, there's no problem with having him. As like, he's a very good wrestler. So I wouldn't like. I think that's a good piece of business. But it's just a case of like, who are they getting and how much they have available to do so. Because it doesn't bode well that they're just. A lot of people seem to be requesting their release. There seems to be at least one person every month requesting their release from TNA. It feels like. Oh, actually, I want to ask more about this because I saw this as a funny story. It's like, have you seen the new addition to the WWE 2K26 roster?
Yes. Yes, I have. It's Strauss Zelnick, Tony, the CEO of 2K. So I'm just gonna.
That's. I mean, if you want to sell some DLC packs.
So I'm just gonna be honest. This wasn't even a DLC pack. The people updated their game randomly, and oh shit, what's this guy doing on the roster? That's what happened there.
He comes out to My Way as his entrance theme.
Yeah, by Frank Sinatra.
And also they've said it so like he's the only person that can have that theme. You can't put that theme on any other like a creator wrestler or something like that.
Jesus Christ. Why are we in this fucking stage of this world where all these fucking rich people just get to do like whatever the fuck they want and everybody's like, okay, start throwing some Molotov cocktails, motherfucker. Like some rich jackass is just like, you know what? I think I'm going to put myself in the thing and I'm going to have my way because I like that song because that's a good song. But Christ, does that have a fucking hold on a certain generation as being like
boomer white men love
they
themselves.
fucking love that. They've ruined that song's like actual value because it's very much the Scarface thing. Scarface is a solid movie, but every goddamn idiot out there in the world is like, yo, Scarface is the best thing. I've got that poster on my wall. I'm a gangster. And you're like, shut the fuck up. You've never seen any other good movies, have you? You're the type of person that's like, Scarface is great, and also fucking Step Brothers should have won Best Picture that year. You know? But it's just man.
He's got a higher overall rating than Johnny Gargano as well.
Of course, because he can't be the lowest because he paid or whatever. You know, he said he's the CEO of 2K.
Yeah.
All right, so then he was like, "I want you to put me in the game," and everybody's like, "Okay, boss." Didn't they do a thing recently where WWE had like sold like a guest spot on commentary for some rich dude?
Yep. So my theory with this, and if you look at the model for 5 seconds, you'll understand this is my theory. They had all these leftover resources from Vince, and we're like, what do we do with them? Let's not throw these away. What do we do with them? I don't know. You want to put Strauss in the game? That'd be kind of funny.
I mean, he doesn't come out to like. He doesn't do Vince's mannerisms coming out.
No, but I think like, the model of it though does look McMahon-esque.
Well, just wearing a suit.
I meant
to put someone in a suit.
I meant his face.
Isn't that just what he looks like?
It could. I genuinely, I don't know.
I don't know what he looks like, so I just assume that's what he looks like.
I've had to type his name a lot, but I don't know what he really looks like because, I don't.
I imagine if there's one guy that could get to do motion capture, it's a guy that like runs the company.
That's crazy.
I like that the Italian crowd does not pronounce the P in "whoop that trick."
Yeah, you'd mentioned that too.
It's woo that tree.
It's woo, yeah, tree.
Woo that tree. So you better riz up that tree.
I was saying tree urns.
I was saying. This is a random fun episode of Hot Tag.
It's almost a dark cast for the most part.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know when to sometimes duck into.
When do we pull the plug on it?
I mean, when SmackDown's over. Which it shouldn't be that far off. I mean, it's 4:44, right? So this is the last match that I'm aware of that's supposed to happen, and I think we're probably like winding down on this match too for the King of the Ring, but
there's not much more to really discuss anyway in terms of like I say I saw on from Collision.
Braun Breaker's got to stop doing this thing where he jumps up to the top. He just keeps losing his balance. This is like the 7th time in a row that he's lost his balance to the top rope. Something's going to happen here.
Didn't something recently happen? Oh, with AEW with QT Marshall, right?
Oh, what with him falling down from?
He fell off top rope. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the vibe we were getting here.
I think. Well, I saw from them Collision that they mentioned that they were going to do this. They said what they're doing with the TBS title now with this Survival of the Fittest match that's going to happen. I can't remember what event they said it was going to happen at, but it's like that 6-way match. So I assume
it's
we're
like
going to have a lot of
July
qualifiers
1st or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I'm intrigued by it.
Sure, we're going to I say we're going to have like plenty of qualifying matches for it. Then they said so. Just look for that. And then, as mentioned earlier about like the Jericho thing, feuding with mid-carders, like Ciampa doing his list of 1,004 reasons why he hates Chris Jericho. It's kind of cute.
I think that was good. I like what they're doing with those two because honestly, it's a unique first time ever match. You're not like stealing the main event from someone. I think it's fine.
It's not the type of thing that I particularly loved right now. I think at another time frame I would have, but
which is exactly why it's fine for this spot.
Yeah, it's like I don't care to see Jericho in
period.
Like, let's put it this way. Jericho's not the way that he used to be. And not only is that in the ring, but I also just can't connect with him on a personal level due to his politics too. Like, if he does something good, I don't want to praise him because of who he is and who he's supporting in politics. So at best, I'm like, all right, that wasn't all that bad, but fuck that guy. And that's like, you know, it's the thing. Like, not everybody, you know, a lot of people are like, I don't care about what happens in the world. I just care about what happens specifically to me, which is very fucking selfish. And a lot of people they separate the art from the artist kind of thing and all. But even when if I were to separate that, I don't think Jericho's done anything in the past like 4 years that I actually thought was like good. Like not good, like not like it's like, you know, everything's been absolute trash, but like if you said to me, tell me your favorite thing Jericho's done in the past 4 years, I have no answer.
The first Ring of Honor title run, I'd say.
I don't remember really loving that.
I thought we had a lot of good matches like that when he was doing the the rehash of the line. Yeah, doing the rehash of the Lionheart stuff.
I don't remember like having any of that be like
that was my last favorite Chris Jericho stuff. The Lionheart stuff with Danielson and that element of his run after they got over a lot of the sports entertainer stuff and before the learning tree. The learning tree was really bad.
I would say like most of the stuff certainly is like not been. Yeah, a lot of it's been bad. Like I'd say like learning tree's bad. Everything that he did was Hook was bad. Like with the FTW title,
Lion Hook.
Yeah, Lion Hook as well. I wasn't like a huge fan of pretty much anything the Jericho Appreciation Society did. Outside of like, I think the best thing about that was it got Matt Menard and
I was gonna say I like that for that reason.
They got those two over to a degree, yeah. But other than that, it's like wasn't great, and also just like didn't help with Daniel Garcia or anything. Although I don't know if anything really can help with Daniel Garcia at this point. But
just put him in a tag team with Wheeler and let them be a tag team. I don't like. They're still young enough to where they can maybe bounce back later, but let them be a tag team for now.
Yeah, but yeah, as I say, it's one of the things where I'm like in the similar boat to Tony, where it's like I don't need to ever see Jericho again now because I've got all the good memories of him, and I don't think anything he's going to do now is going to replace that or add new stuff to that list of things that I'll always go back to watch Jericho matches and segments for. But like, if he's going to have to be on one of the shows doing stuff, I mean, I'd rather he be in WWE so I don't have to watch him. But if he has to be on AEW doing stuff, I'd rather he was just doing, you know, occasionally fun or different feuds in the mid card rather than like crowding out the main event and doing like super long segments every single show. So it's one of the things where we just have to. It's one of those things like Tony Khan loves the guy. We're gonna have to put up with it. So,
back to SmackDown real quick. Is Braun Breaker okay?
It doesn't seem like he is.
No, like
was he not wrestling very well?
He's powering through a clear knee issue. His knee's constantly buckling, and he almost dropped Damian Priest on his fucking head with a gorilla press, and he's like struggling. And why, like, take a powder, dude? Rest your knee or whatever.
Was it bad because if he just came back because he only just came back from injury, so it's like,
well, the vision is cursed. I mean, like,
the sooner that they just drop that whole vision thing and then try to push everybody separately, then that would be better, because everything about the Vision just like they try to do something and it's like, nope, fuck you. It's snake bit.
By the way, if he doesn't win here, that's going to be a shock. Also, I think Rollins is winning the King of the Ring. I know it's been a rumor, but I'm beginning to think that that's. I thought that on Monday when I thought about like it'll come down to Breakker and Rollins, and then I'm not sure because they could do Rollins and Roman, but I see that I think it was Ibu again posted that Roman is definitely working Oba and he's definitely working Rollins. Which one happens at WrestleMania, which one happens at SummerSlam depends on The Rock, because they might save Oba Roman if Rock doesn't want to work Saudi.
Which doesn't strike me as a solid plan, because if they're planning on, we need to know what Dwayne wants to do in April, and we're doing a tournament right now that determines what happens at SummerSlam. They can't make that decision.
Oh, Braun's out. Dominic won.
Okay, well, Seth Rollins is most likely winning. Oh, yeah. So wait, so that means Seth Rollins versus Obafemi?
No, because
they're on the other side, aren't they?
They switched it. Okay, it was previously in a different position.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, it's Dominic Mysterio versus Obafemi. Yeah,
that was always the positioning.
Let me bring up no. That's
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, it was in that okay, yeah. No, wait. No, I've got an old graphic. They had Obafemi on the top left, and they had Braun Breaker's section here in the bottom left. They moved to the tournament.
No, they were next to each other all the time, weren't they? Because Braun Breaker was just in that match, so they would have faced each other if they'd both gone into the semi-finals.
Yeah.
I'm saying about it would have been Braun Breaker versus Obafemi. So now I'm thinking it's Obafemi versus Seth Rollins, that kind of thing.
Well, the way they have it now is the way I saw it going.
Yeah, Obafemi versus Dominic Mysterio, and then
but I thought it would be Obafemi versus Braun. I thought the Paul Heyman connection would get Lesnar to come out and cost Oba. We would do that match the third time in Saudi, and then Braun versus Rollins in the finals. But with Braun losing here, I genuinely...
It's going to be Seth Rollins versus Oba in the finals, probably. So.
Probably, but then at that point, then I'm thinking that's at least up in the air, which is something I can get behind. But it'll be interesting to see if they let Rollins beat Oba clean.
Well, they have started letting Seth has been winning more matches recently, but it just feels like that just feels like a very safe, keep the status quo type move to go of just having Seth Rollins just beat Obafemi, even if it's not clean. It's like, when do you move on? When do you actually do something different or push someone new?
The only person who's beaten Oba so far is Brock.
Yeah, but that's like... But it's not like that happened like a year and a half into Oba's run on WWE. That happened like 2 months into his main roster run.
True.
So it's like, it doesn't matter if it's only one guy that's beating him. He's only been on the main roster for 3 or 4 months.
Well, Cody beat him.
I'm not counting that.
And
oh, yeah,
technically, Tony D'Angelo
that was like a DQ thing, was it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Tony
D'Angelo. I'm not counting Tony D'Angelo.
Well, if you don't count the other people.
Yeah, it's in the same way. It's in the same way they don't count, like, they say, like, Gunther's only lost, like, 4 matches, but, like, they don't count the fact that he lost.
Right, they're not counting
Dragunov. And they don't count Braun Breaker beating him on NXT as well. It's like...
Right.
Yeah, it's ridiculous like that.
They only count... Like, it's like you become a completely new person when you're
I'm going to count what I want to count, and that's that. Like, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened to that 30-day rule for champions to defend? Different things like that.
When Brock Lesnar wanted to start winning titles again.
I mean, at this point, Braun Breaker not advancing very much seems like, okay, Obafemi is going to either beat Dominic Mysterio and go into the finals against Seth Rollins and somehow lose there, or he'll beat Seth Rollins in the finals or whatever and do the Seth Rollins match another time. Jey Uso is still the guy that I think more than likely is going to beat LA Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor. Have Seth Rollins against Jey Uso and all. I'm leaning towards more of a scenario at this point of, look, if Braun Breaker's out of the tournament, they're not doing Braun Breaker against Roman Reigns. I don't know why they decided not to do that. Maybe it's the injury thing. Maybe it's the fact that every time they try to do anything with Braun Breaker like this, the whole Vision thing falls apart. But I could very well see this being Rollins versus Reigns at SummerSlam. And if not, then I think that they do the Obafemi thing, but the Obafemi thing's all contingent upon the Brock Lesnar thing too. So I guess it's actually there's a chance too that maybe Dom beats Obafemi by count out or something. Maybe
I thought about that.
Maybe that's where Brock Lesnar comes back.
I think Brock just shows up. I think Brock just shows up at Night of Champions and costs Obafemi the final, and then they do the 3P at SummerSlam.
So you think that they're just deciding not to do the Gunther match, or do you think they've convinced Brock?
I don't know. It's either he's just going to end it there, or it's just a case of he's not retiring at SummerSlam and he's going to go. He's going to at least show up at the Saudi show because it's Saudi next year for WrestleMania. So I'm sure that will convince him. The pay packet that he get through will convince him to stay on to WrestleMania.
But before we get out of here, I want to read this tweet from Dave Meltzer from about 2 hours ago. I swear, New Japan could be sold, a giant wrestling war could be coming, and an amazing human interest story could be happening. The most powerful person in wrestling history, and perhaps the most powerful today, could both be in court for alleged misdeeds, but none of that matters because people literally lose their minds on Star. Oh, okay. He's responding to the fact that everybody's bitching about his star ratings.
Yeah. He's saying there's so much stuff going on right now that why do people care what his star ratings are?
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I agree with that. I've generally found that, like, I think Dave is fine. I don't get it. Why, like, he attracts such weird vitriol?
Because he's got attention. If nobody was actually tracking his stuff, then nobody would be upset about it. It's just, the rule of thumb when it comes to human nature. Why are popular people more popular than people that aren't? A good portion of it is because they're already popular. So people are like, I want to like the popular thing. And then, Meltzer's got enough of a platform that people go, Dave Meltzer says whatever. And then the inherent need from some people to be like, oh, well, fuck that guy then if he said that. And you're like, do you even know him? I was like, well, no, but you mentioned his name, so fuck him. And, if it's honest, he just goes out there and says, this is my rating for things because this is my personal idea of what I like in pro wrestling. And then everybody goes, oh, okay, well, if you like the same stuff that Meltzer likes, then you probably listen to him the way that any kind of, like, a movie critic. If I hear the opinion of, like, Dan Murrell, I'll be like, okay, I respect Dan Murrell's opinion about a movie. He might not like the same stuff that I like in some scenarios, but I'll be like, if he says it's a good movie, I might check that out. And then some other people, if they're, then at the same time, you don't listen to it. But people get upset about critics all the time. Movie critics, too. I don't know how many times I see people bitching, complaining about, like, this critic liked the movie Obsession. And it's like, oh, I hate that movie or whatever. And then you're like, okay, you can hate it. You can like what you like and all. I don't really give a shit about what Meltzer rates anything. Because to me, I've established at this point, Meltzer has a different style that he likes than I necessarily like sometimes. And a match that he considers to be a 12-star classic is basically going to be the same type of match over and over and over again. And yeah, I like those matches sometimes, but I'm also not going to blow my load over every suicide dive, you know? Guy 123 in the chat, not a fan of Meltzer. Dave is a moron who thinks he knows everything and is an AEW kiss ass. Never was like that for TNA. Also, fuck him for doing that to Dutch. What happened with, I'm assuming, Dutch Mantel?
Dutch Mantel? Or does he have a thing against
Dutch?
The Dutch? Does he not like the Dutch?
Is it against Dutch or Dutch Mantel or the Dutch? We don't know. The entire Dutch people, you know.
I'd say, like, again, it just shows people don't actually read anything that Dave Meltzer writes, because realistically, I argue that over the last 2 years he's been more critical of AEW than he has been of WWE, very significantly so. He holds AEW to a much higher standard than WWE.
I got one more thing that we didn't talk about yet, which is as simple as it is. Predictions for the other part of Noche de los Grandes, which they are not obviously putting any effort into making seem as big of a deal. You know, it's not even to the point that it really should matter. It really kind of almost makes me feel like maybe they shouldn't have even had this be Noche de los Grandes week 2. Maybe they should have had this be just the next episode of AAA, because it's 3 things announced for it. One of them is Rey Mysterio will talk. Fucking wow.
And it's some dumb.
And as far as I'm aware, it's probably not even going to address the title situation all that much. At most, he's going to say El Grande Americano gets the shot at Dominic Mysterio at Triple Mania. You know. But then there's also the 6-woman tag match that's happening with Catalina and Bailey and Lola Vice against I don't remember their names, Flammer, or I don't even know how that's pronounced exactly right. Las Toxicas. Flamir. Yeah. 6-woman tag. I'm assuming La Catalina's crew ends up winning that, so that way she gets a title shot. And then you got the is that a 5-man that's currently set up for that? It's the Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, Lindsay Dorado, Octagon, and Mini Vikingo.
Yeah, Octagon got hurt.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Well, he ain't winning that match, then.
in the taping for that match, he got hurt.
I'm surprised I can't find any spoilers. At least I haven't been able to. If anybody else is able to find it, let me know, and that'll save me some work tomorrow. But without knowing the spoilers, it's a Fatal 5-way that's not for a title shot that I'm aware of. So maybe Mini Vikingo wins, maybe Octagon wins. I don't know, but this really is like, what a drop off from a bunch of title changes and the El Grande Americano thing to a 6-woman tag that doesn't necessarily matter, in a Fatal 5-way that doesn't have any kind of stakes and a promo.
I guess we'll see.
So let's see here. Final wrap up of what we got going on here. Guy123 says, I don't like Cornette, but I agree with him on Dave. Probably the only thing I really agree with him on. Oh, wait, Dutch Mantel, he was a dick to him and he had an illness because he dared question the great Tony Khan. I will send the link in the Discord. Yeah, I don't know anything's happening with that, but I've got nothing else on the hot tag list. This was one of those weeks where we really wouldn't have had a real long episode, but hey, the SmackDown spoilers ended up being a good portion of this too. And, everything else from Raw and NXT and, all that, you can check that stuff out. Like, honestly, there's really nothing to happen this week that's super duper important. And we're going to roll along with a lot of all the other things that we have planned in the next coming weeks and stuff. We do have that fantasy booking follow-up from the mock draft that is going to be coming up soon. I'm thinking about maybe, depending on if these guys are interested in what our recording schedules are and everything, maybe we do a watch along of the 1996 King of the Ring. Maybe I'll end up doing that on my own if you guys are not interested or
I mean,
not able to.
I'll always sit down and watch a show with you. I watched the 95 King of the Ring. That's awful.
Yeah, the Mabel
We
one.
we watched the 95 one like last year.
Yeah, we watched
Yeah, I'd say I'm down to watch wrestling.
96 has at least a much more important outcome than the 95 one does.
Like,
as important as Mabel was, you
have to share things with me because I obviously don't have access to that stuff anymore. So
we'll have to try to figure that out. Yeah. So I mean, that's on the potential schedule as well as whatever ends up happening with the Darkcast side of things and stuff. Obviously, pop on over to the Discord channel, have some fun over there. I'm trying to do more and more over on Discord, and that includes updating people on things over there if anything kind of spontaneously happens, and things like, potential other live recordings like this and stuff. And if you want to help support us and make sure that we do as much as we possibly can, the best ways for you to do that are to hit up the Patreon or the YouTube channel membership, toss a little spare change through the thanks button, pick up merchandise on Redbubble and TeePublic. But you could also hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button, totally free options like that. And keep in mind that you could be following everything on anthonymago.com to find all the link tree list of all that stuff that I've got going on. But follow Rob and Callum too.
Yep, you can follow me everywhere at DudeFelice, and you should check out InsiderGaming.com. Callum?
You can follow me at Wigmaster14 on Twitter and Blue Sky. Check out the Power Rankings every Saturday over on smark.com. And do you want to talk about the Fantasy League?
That's right, yeah, Fantasy League.
So as of I've only put points up to and including Clash in Italy. As it stands right now, Tony's currently lagging behind on 75 points. I'm then second with 87, and then Rob is leading the way at the moment with 102 points.
Yeah.
I won the predictions contest. Even though we got the same thing I got the same number of predictions correct as Tony, but I was closer in the time prediction for the main event.
Boo.
So I get the win on there, so that means I get first pick over whether I want to make any trades, because the trades have now reset to the 3 that we can have between now and Night of Champions. So I'm going to have a look at my thing. I'm going to get rid of Brock Lesnar, because he didn't make his job, and I don't know when he'll be back. So I feel like that's a safe bet to go with. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to replace him with... Who do I replace him with?
Birdo.
What, the Naruto character?
No,
Umberto.
Humberto Carrillo.
Oh, Umberto. I thought you said Birdo. I'm like...
No, Birdo. Berto.
Berto. Let's go with... I'm gonna... do I take a risk with that one, or do I... Yeah, I'll take a risk with Naruto.
Potential NXT champion.
Yeah, that's
He's got a match against Mason Rook on this next coming up episode of NXT, where one of that's going to end up going to Great America Bash, so he might end up being champion in the next couple weeks. And it's Naraku now, apparently.
That's Naraku.
Yeah, they changed the pronunciation. They had said Naraku, and now they're calling him Naraku. Which kind of makes me think that maybe they were saying Naraku, and then maybe he was like, hey, actually, it's supposed to be Naraku. And then they're like, fuck, all right, we'll do that going forward.
I was saying Narakurns.
So who's next in trade?
Tony would be next up if he wants to make a trade.
Let's see here. John Evans isn't doing fuck all for my team. Blake Monroe still just... Am I getting points for the the coming soon vignettes?
Anyone that's showing her doing new stuff. So you got one for like last week's one because it was a new promo and her talking about Rhea Ripley, wasn't it? Something. So
yeah, and they sent.
So
they
you
did
got
another
a new one this week.
Another new one. But,
but as long as it's new, it's not just like showing. It's not just clips of her like from NXT or whatever. If it's as long as it's her saying new stuff, then it counts.
Okay, so I guess I'll maybe keep her for now. Take a look to see if there's anybody that actually makes sense for me to just be like, let's do this person in the meantime. most people are already kind of covered, but for the sake of it, I'm going to drop Solo Sikoa and pick up Seth Rollins.
Damn.
Yeah, Seth doesn't actually have anyone. I should have thought about that maybe a bit more. I just assumed that he was with someone. So
yeah, sometimes that's why I'm like, let me double check to see what the list is, because I would have assumed that he would have been on somebody's team.
All right, so Rob, do you want to make a change?
I'm gonna leave my team as is for right now.
Yeah, it is doing pretty well for you at the moment, so I'm not surprised that you don't want to change anyone at the moment.
Shut up, Tony.
Boo this man. Boo this man and his fucking luck on the fantasy league and the mock draft.
I can win when it doesn't actually count.
I think I guess I'll leave. I guess I'll leave the way that it's right now. Then I don't think that I'll make another trade for the time being.
And this is these trades are for up until Night of Champions, right?
Yeah, you have 2 more trades left between now and Night of Champions. So.
All right, then I'm gonna leave them as is, because there might be something that might end up being like, okay, I'm gonna pick this person instead of Javon or something like that. But for now, not aware of anybody else.
Okay, so that's your fantasy league update, and you can check out all the latest standings and see have a closer look at our teams over at wwefantasyleague.com.
And of course, stay tuned for the other part of the mock draft, everyone, with the fantasy league stuff and whatever else is happening. Pop up when it pops up. Thanks for joining us live. If you were live for this, thank you for tuning in after the fact. Let us know what you thought about us doing these kind of more impromptu live / watch along hot tag combo things. It's always worth the potential of trying something out. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes could use a little bit of tweaks and stuff. So give me the feedback and we'll see what we do next. But adios for now, everybody. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.